Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope and trust you are well. Welcome to another week and another session on the web development module. So glad to have you here. So glad to have you here. Yeah, so we are in week 7. We are in week 7 of our module. Just one more week, one more week. One more week and we'll be done with web development, and you can look to the future with your specialization modules. Yeah, so we are edging closer to you selecting your area of specialization and then focusing on that one. Yeah, so as we begin today's session, first of all, my sincere apologies for the issues being experienced around the assignment for week 6. And I also understand week 7 is also experiencing the issue. Yeah, so my sincere apologies around that. Yeah, that one is beyond us, unfortunately. It is an issue with GitHub Classroom itself. Tried to find solutions and workarounds for it, but unfortunately, the solutions being given were not viable for us. Okay, so yeah, so if you head on to the LMS, you will see instructions for week 6 and 7 assignment have changed. You will now need to, that is, if you have not yet submitted your assignment, you will now need to fork the main repository of the assignment and then proceed to do your assignment. Forking an assignment is not cloning an assignment, okay? Yeah, though they basically perform the same thing, make a copy, they are not the same thing, okay? They are totally different things. So if you're forking an assignment, just let me share. Let me share my screen. So you'll get a link like this. It will take you to the PLP Web Technologies organization repository and specifically to the actual assignment repository. So if you navigate to this one, this is the area where you fork an assignment from, okay? You are not cloning. Once you clone this assignment, if you clone this assignment, you'll not be able to push your changes, okay? So I need you to fork the assignment. This will create a separate repository based on the main repository. It will create a separate repository for you on your own GitHub account. Thereafter, you can make your changes and submit that as your assignment, okay? So please note that and advise your colleagues who have not yet done the assignment or are experiencing an issue with week 6 and 7 of the assignment. Okay, so I hope that one is clear. So this particular week, we will be looking at CSS3 transitions and animations. Transitions and animations. So we've left JavaScript a little bit, just a little bit, but we'll touch on it at the tail end of this session, but we are back to CSS and having a look at transitions and animations. So I had a very interesting question in the morning session. Should we use transitions? Yeah, so remember, your ultimate goal is to create web pages that are interesting, okay, that capture the imagination and attention of your users. You don't want boring web pages where someone just gives a look at your web page or website and within the first 10 seconds, they just leave. Even scrolling is just the plain old scrolling. Nothing happens when I scroll. Nothing happens when I hover over your elements. Nothing at all. So transitions and animations simply just add life to your web pages. Don't create dull web pages. Give them some form of life. Okay, so that is what we'll be looking at this day. So something to note is that yeah, I think you've noticed I haven't gone through the week's assignment. The week's assignment. Where is it? Where is it? I closed it. Yeah. So you had three parts to the last week's assignment. You had to showcase JavaScript event handling and interactive elements. At least build two interactive features. So your deliverables were here. Event handling for button inputs or links, two interactive features created from scratch, a fully functioning custom form validation. Yeah, I think we went through this last week. Yeah, should have been very, very easy for you. We did dark mode, we did accordion. What else did we do last week? Did we do tabs? Yeah, so those are some of the interactive elements that you could have done on your assignment for last week. So any two would have sufficed. Again, don't think too much on your assignments. Don't think too much on your assignment. Just deliver this. Just answer the question that is posed to you on the assignment, okay? Good, 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 good. So we will be going through transitions and animations. Yeah, let us just dive into this week's session. So as always, you need your directory ready. You need your directory ready as always. So let me just create here very quick. Be doing the same on your side. Do the same on your side. Okay. Then you just have a basic structure of a web page. At least you have head section, and at least a title. Don't forget to link your style sheet as I usually do. Okay. Don't forget to link your style sheet. So this is styles and also our scripting file. It's .js. Okay. Yeah, so at least have those files. We'll at least have those 3 files ready with the necessary directories. So, what are transitions? What are transitions? What are CSS3 transitions? CSS3 is simply the 3rd version of CSS. It's nothing different from what we've been using. It's only now that we are clearly highlighting the 3rd version of CSS3, of CSS, sorry. So when you speak about transitions in CSS, you are simply trying to facilitate smooth change between 2 states of an element. 2 states of an element. So what we've been doing when we started with CSS, from the changes we've been making to elements, our changes have always been instant. Our changes have always been instant, like changing the color, we do that instantly with the click of a button, or by simply hovering over an element, you can change its color. So all our changes have been instant. But with transitions in CSS, we now want to facilitate a smooth change, something gradual. You can actually see the change happening over time. So that is what transitions will help you to achieve in CSS. And as it has been mentioned, this occurs when the state of an element changes. When the state of an element changes. And what are some of these states that we will be looking at? So you have like a hover state, you have active state, you have target state, and so on and so forth. So if you've noted, these are some pseudo classes when it comes to CSS. These are pseudo classes that you can use with your CSS rules. So before we actually see this in action, there are 4 key properties that you need to know and understand when it comes to CSS transitions. What are these properties? What are these properties? Key transition properties that you need to know and understand. First one is the transition property. The first one is the transition property. Transition property. So this one simply specifies which property to animate. Should I really use the word animate? Which property to showcase. Let me use showcase. Showcase is much better. So the transition property specifies which property to showcase. And this one can be things like color of text. You have your background colors. you have color, you have background color, you have sizes, and so on and so forth, margin and padding, and so on and so forth. Those things. Next property is the transition duration. Transition duration. This one simply specifies how long will the transition last? The transition last. So this one is specified using seconds or microseconds, but default is usually seconds. So you can go as low as 0 of a second. Okay. Number 3, we have the transition timing function. The transition timing function. This one simply specifies the speed. Let's not use curve. The speed of the transition. The speed of the transition. And when it comes to the timing function, the transition timing function, we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have these 5 options that you can use. You have these 5 options that you can use. You have ease, you have the ease option, you have the ease option. So this is where it starts low. Starts slow, speeds up, and then slows again. So that is ease. You have linear. You have linear as a timing function. You have linear. So this is where you have constant speed. Constant speed. Next, you have ease in. Ease in starts slow and ends fast. You have ease out, which is the inverse of ease in. So this one starts fast and ends slow. And slow. And finally, we have ease in out. Ease in out. So this one is slow, then fast, then slow. Have those 5 options when it comes to the transition timing function. Number 4, and the last property is you have your transition delay. So this one specifies how long are you waiting? How long do you wait? How long are you waiting before the transition starts? Before the transition starts. So with these 5 properties, you can actually specify a transition effect on any element on your web page. You can specify a transition effect on any element on your web page. But typing all these out can be hectic. Typing all these out can be hectic. So the guys who created this were gracious enough to give you a shorthand. To give you a shorthand that you can use to define all these properties in one line of code. And this is the syntax. This is the syntax. So your property will be transition, and the values here, you start with the transition property, followed by the duration, followed by the timing function, and finally the delay. So this is much simpler than typing all these 4 at this individually. So you can do a shorthand to actualize this transition property. So as usual, as is our norm, Let us do this practically to see it in action. See it in action, eh? We're doing this practically to see it in action. Another example, very simple example that you can use. Let us do a navigation bar. Yeah, let us do a navigation bar. So we can have nav. Can have a navigation bar. Can have a navigation bar. Maybe just those three. Can have a navigation bar. With three anchor tags. So save that. Have a navigation bar with three anchor tags. Save that. To our CSS file, we're going to add the styling for this. So nav A for anchor. Nav A for anchor. Text decoration null. Color can just do let's do gray. Can do gray for our color. Can add some padding. Can add some padding. Can add some padding. Change our font size. Change our font size. And then we define our transition. We define our transition. So maybe let us just simply change the color. So that is the property that we are changing. Remember the order. We start with the property, duration, timing function, and delay, okay? So property, we are changing color. Timing function. Let's do 1 second. We can do ease. We can change border bottom. Maybe 1.5. I want it to be very, very clear. Is in out. The bottom 2 pixels solid transparent. So navigation hover. Remember, transition occurs when a state changes. Okay, transition occurs when a state changes. So I want to change. You know us. No, blue will be better. You know us. We like drastic, conspicuous colors. So that our change is very, very clear. Green yellow, yes. Green yellow is very conspicuous. Okay. Okay, so there we are done. So the main line here is this one. The main line here is line 7, the transition property. This is the main line. This is the main line. And what are we saying with this line? We are simply saying what we are changing is the color property of this element. And it's the anchor tag which resides where within the navigation, okay? So we are changing the color property. So that is the transition property we are changing is color. Transition duration, we have specified that to, let me do this. This is, yeah, much better. The color, and then we have our transition duration. We've set that to 1 second. And then we have our transition timing function, and we set that to ease. Next, we introduce another property that we are transitioning, which is the border bottom, and the timing function, and then, the duration, and then the timing function. Then the timing function. For this one, we've not included any delay. We have not included any delay. So save your file. Make sure you've saved all your files. Make sure you've saved all your files, your index file, your styling file. Make sure your link is valid. Make sure your link is valid. The link to your CSS file is valid. Now, I always forget to put that. And then we wonder, why is our code not running? Why is our code not running? So here we have our navigation. Here we have our navigation links. Remember, our state change is on hover. 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 I hope you can see that. I hope you can see that when you hover on each and every menu item, first the color of the text changes, and then our border bottom also changes. Our border bottom also changes. And you can see the transition is smooth. The transition is smooth. The transition is very, very smooth. It is not as instant as before. And that is made possible by the duration that we have placed on the transition property. We can do another example. So for this one, I will need you to get an image. Please get an image. You know where to find one. You know where to find an image. Please get an image. Please get an image. We are going to use that for our next transition effect. So simply have a div container with an image within it, or an image as its child. Give the div a class. Give the div a class. Just I'm just sprucing things over. Yeah, I'm just making my web page much better. Okay. Okay, so at least have a div container with an image inside it. Make sure your image is displayed there. Make sure your image is displayed there. And then I will head on over to our scripting file for our image container class. Image container. Image container. So first we need to set a width and a height for our container. Set a width and a height for our container. Place a border radius. For display purposes, let me just place it to the center of the page. Okay, for our transition, we are simply going to transform. We're simply going to transform this image. We are simply going to transform this image. 0. seconds is very little. I need some gradual change. So let us do 2 seconds. Is box shadow. So these are the properties we are going to change: transform and box shadow. These are valid CSS properties. These are valid CSS properties. So let us let's do that is for our image. Next, on hover, not on our container, but on our image. When you hover over our image, we want to change this. So one, we are going to scale up. Scale refers to size. So anything above 1 means you're increasing the size. Anything below 1, you're reducing the size. So we want to scale up. We want to scale up at least 1.3. Okay, at least 1.3. And then we're going to place a box shadow. In the box shadow property, we are going to place a box shadow. RGBA is another way of defining color in CSS. So there are various functions and ways to define color in CSS. You can use color code, hex codes. You can use the actual color name. You can use the RGBA function. There's another one called HCL. There's so many ways, okay? So that is it for our CSS rules. So you have your container. These first few lines are just for cosmetics. Then our important line here is the transition. The important line here is the transition. Oh, sorry, this one is supposed to be image. So this one is not needed. Okay. So the important line is line 20, where you define your transition properties, the duration, and transition timing function. Okay. So we are changing transform, which you've also defined here, and the box shadow. We've also defined it there. When the state changes, and the state we are looking out for is the hover state. So save your file, make sure to save your file. Head on back to the browser, So hover over the image to see the effects. Can you hover over the image to see the effects? Hover over the image to see the effect. Why is our image to the very... Need to change that. Let me change something here. Margin. Thing left. Yeah. So hover over the image to see the effects. Hover over the image to see the effect. So you can clearly see, unlike our previous interactions with CSS and also JavaScript, the change is actually gradual. It is not instant. The change is actually gradual. It is not instant. And that is what transition does for you. That is what transition does for you. Adds that time component to your changes. Adds that time component to your changes. Yeah, so far we have seen one with anchor tags. We have zoomed into an image. We can leave it at that. We can leave it at that and have a look at animations. Have a look at animations. So when it comes to animations, these ones are a bit more complex. They are a bit more complex and they feature multi-step effects that can run automatically and repeat multiple times. Okay, so our changes here, one, we can do multiple changes. We can do multiple changes or multi-step effects. So you define several breakpoints. And at each and every breakpoint, you determine what is going to happen, okay? And one thing about animations is they run automatically. So you've seen for our transitions, they depend on a state change. They depend on a state change. But with this one, they can run automatically. They can be repeated several times, and they give you more control over what is actually happening. Over what is actually happening. So to use animations, there is a keyword in CSS for that. It is called keyframes, @keyframes rule. So this one simply allows you to define intermediate stages of an animation. Intermediate stages of an animation, the breakpoints I was mentioning. So at each stage, you can define, I want this to happen at this stage. I want something else to happen at this stage, and so on and so forth. Okay? The keyframes rule. So each keyframe that you define needs to have a name. Okay? It needs to have a name, just like when you define a variable, you need to give it a name. Okay? Or when you define a function, you need to give it a name. So same applies here. Each rule needs to have a name. And inside the rule, you define the styles for different stages. Okay? Different breakpoints. So we are going to see how we can do that. But before we can see that, let us have a look at the key properties when it comes to animations, key animation properties. So one, we've defined keyframes. Hey, my computer. My computer, again. So this is where you define the animation. Define the animation. So you give it a name. You give it a name. You give it a name. Next, we have the animation name as a property. So that simply specifies the name of the animation. You have your animation duration, specifies how long the animation will take to complete one cycle. How long is it going to take? Next, you have your timing function. Just like the transition, we also have a timing function. And the same options still apply here. You have linear, is in, is out, is in, out. Those same options still apply. We also have a delay functionality or a delay property, animation delay, which simply specifies the delay or how long are you waiting before the animation will start. Next, we have iteration count. How many times will your animation run? How many times will your animation run? That is defined by the animation iteration count. And then we have the direction. We have the direction. So this one specifies which way should the animation be showcased. Which way should the animation be showcased? Is it straightforward? Is it reverse? Is it alternate? So you have your options. You have normal, reverse, alternate, and alternate reverse. Next, we have the fill mode. Next, we have the fill mode. So this one simply specifies a style for the element when the animation is not playing. So which style will persist when the animation is dormant? Which style will persist when the animation is dormant? So default is usually none. So you can do forwards, backwards, both, or none. So all these, there are quite many. There are quite many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All these can be done using shorthand. Be done using shorthand. So these ones are the key properties. I know my computer has suggested another one here. But these ones are the key properties when it comes to animations. So this is a shorthand property. Instead of writing all these 7, you can just use animation and start with the name, duration, timing function, the delay, iteration count, direction, and fill mode. Okay, direction and fill mode. So in the first class, we did a bouncing ball. We did a bouncing ball. I want to do something else. Allow me to do something else for the animation. Something simple, something simple, but I told you, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Somebody does something very, very simple for you, and you're there wondering, how? That is amazing. So you're doing something very, very simple. H2. So we're going to do a loading spinner. To do a loading spinner. So div, not an image. I know most of you are used to images. Now we are doing it through CSS. See the loading icon that appears. Yeah, I know most of you are used to maybe a GIF image of that spinner. We want to do it practically now. Okay, so back to our styles. Oh, so we've only added, I've only added a div container with a class spinner. Div container with a class spinner. So class spinner, we need a width. $50 pixels is more than enough. Same height, 50 pixels. The border, I'll do black so that it is very, very visible. Different, let us do red. Red and blue, okay? Border radius, 50%, and then animation. So you begin with your animation name, remember? You begin with your animation name. Remember our shorthand, sorry. Remember our shorthand. We begin with the animation name, duration, and then timing function. And then the others can follow. So here we are doing animation name is spin. Our duration is 2 seconds. Timing function is linear, constant speed. And we want to run this infinitely, yeah? So it will never stop. It will always be running, okay? Next, our keyframes. Keyframes for defining the animation. So spin, we simply, so we are going to have only one breakpoint at 100%. And we are transforming this by rotating it 360 degrees. 360 degrees. So that is it. So our key rules here are the keyframes and this line 35 for animation. Those are our key rules and properties. So save your file, make sure you save your file, save your index file, save your here's a loading speeder. Let me just increase the size and do another color. Which one? Green. Green, yellow. This will be border bottom. So there is your spinner. Your spinner. So I hope you've managed to do so yourself. You've managed to do so yourself. You've come across a loader, a spinning loader, huh? When you are loading a page and you see please wait while the page loads, or please wait as we fetch data. So it can either be an image, but an image will take up too much bandwidth. Why not just do it via CSS? Why not do it via CSS, and you'll be saving up on bandwidth rather than having an image. Yeah, so what other animation can we do? What other animation can we do? Let's figure out something else that you can do. Let's do another example for the animation. You can do another example for the animation. So back to our HTML. Back to our HTML. I can do another section. Can do another section. Or you guys want a bouncing ball? Do you want a bouncing ball or I do something else? Bouncing ball you can check out on the previous class. Yeah, you can look at the video for the previous class for the bouncing ball. I want to do something else. Uh, else, what do we have here? So we need a div. Do we do a div or an image? Let me do another image. Do another image. Let us do another image. So that means I need another image. I need to fetch another image. This is why computer is suggesting a puppy. Let me just give it what it wants. um, so okay. So that is our image. That is our image. So back to our CSS file. Back to our CSS file. So this will be, what is our class? Animated image. Animated image. Animated image. So we definitely need a width and a height. Definitely need a width and a height. And this one is already defining for me which is fine, which is fine. Okay. So our image is going to move and rotate. Our image is going to move and rotate. And we have three breakpoints at 0%. At 0%, rotation will be 0 degrees. Translation on the x-axis will be 0. At 50%, translation on the x-axis will be 100 pixels and rotation will be 180 degrees. And on 100%, translation will go back to 0 and rotation will be 360 degrees. So save your file, and go back to the browser. Yeah. My screen is visible, eh? Yeah, so you see with the animations, you can actually automate your transitions. Eh? You can automate your transitions so that you do not have to wait for any event to trigger your transition effects. Eh? Like what we had for the image. You see, you had to hover over the image for it to transition, even for the anchor tags. But with animations, you can actually automate those change of effects. Okay, you can automate those change of effects. Yeah, so those are our two examples for animations. Those are our two examples for animations. Yeah, before I head on to the final section of this session, which is now including JavaScript, such that with JavaScript, you can actually trigger these animations. Let us zip some coffee. Let us zip some coffee as I upload this code to the repository. As I upload this code to the repository. I hope that is fine. So just a minute, just a minute. So index styles .css styles.css and we need images. In the images. So we have puppies.jpg. And we need our script file. Okay. So the repository is up to date. The repository is up to date. You can access the files from there. You can access the files from there. Okay. So now we've seen transitions, we've seen animations in effects. How do you include JavaScript? Eh? How do you include JavaScript on this? Okay, so go back to our index file, go back to our index file, go back to our index file. We're going to add another section. So this one was animated image move and rotate. Move and rotate. So section. To be animate on click. Okay, animate on click. So going to need another div. Class here will be pulse. An ID. So at least have a div with the class pulse and ID circle. Class pulse and ID circle. And back to our styling file. On our styling file, we are going to define these classes. So start with pulse. Start with pulse. So we have a width of 100, height of 100. Background, background. Till. I need something very distinct. Is orange? Okay. Border radius 50%. Border radius 50%. Border radius 50%, and then our so will not be here. Transition. Sorry. Transition. Transition. Transform 0.3 seconds and ease as our timing function. Pulse dot active. Dot active. So our animation will come in here. Pulse animation 0.5 should be enough. And this will be forwards. Next, our keyframes for pulse animation. Our keyframe for pulse animation. So this one will just be scaling. Will just be scaling. We want to mimic a pulse. We want to mimic a pulse. So we have those different breakpoints, 0, 50%, and 100. So we'll start with the original scale up, and then go back to the original, and then go back to the original. So that does it for our CSS. Now for our JavaScript, So we had given it ID circle, So constant circle equals to document dot get elements by ID, and our ID is circle. circle.add event listener. So when you click on the circle, what are we going to do? Access the circle, access the class list, and we're not toggling, we're adding add active. Class is active. This one, we are adding the active class. So this will be the initiation. We are initiating the animation. Initiating the animation on click. We are initiating the animation on click. Next, we need to reset the animation. And how do we do that? We remove the class after animation ends. Hey, my computer, you're scaring me now. Hey, you're scaring me now. Wow. So the event listener for that one is animation end. The event listener for that one is animation end. So this one will check when the animation ends, then we can remove the class. You can remove the class. Oh, sorry, there's something. This one is supposed to be inside someone. This one is supposed to be inside here. Yeah, so the class this one here. Yes. So this section simply ensures that this class is only removed once after it is called. You can only remove it after it is called. So save that. I hope everything is in order. Is our link correct? Yes, it is. Save your styling file, save your index HTML file, and we go back to the browser. Go back to the browser. Go back to the browser. And I want you to watch the ball. I want you to watch our yellow ball very, very clearly. So in the first class, we actually did a heartbeat. That one was interesting. We actually did a heartbeat. So you can access the video for the first class and see that in action. I don't know, it's very nice. Rather than activating this every time, you could actually see the heart pulsating. Yeah, so I think that does it. So with when you're including JavaScript, you simply use JavaScript now to trigger the transitions. To trigger the transition. So here we've used the on-click event. We have used the on-click event. to trigger that animation and transition for our circle. Yeah, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. Some few things that I want to mention and highlight for what we've done. So with transitions, these ones are best for simple state changes. Simple state changes, if you have a hover, if you have focus, if you have active, if you have targets, and so on and so forth, those changes, those pseudo classes in CSS, then you can use transitions. And when it comes to animations, these ones are best for complex automation, looping, and timed effects. So animations are best known for that. And if you are including JavaScript and CSS, then this will give you more control when it comes to starting, stopping, and resetting your transitions and animations. Yeah, so I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for your attention. Yeah, so any question, any questions, any question, any question. So I think I've addressed the assignment issue. So please let us keep our questions focused on today's lesson, kindly. Okay? So Francis, Negash, Kidane, Nelson Maina, Clive. Let me get your questions, please.
Hello.
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 Yes, Francis.
I'm Francis. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Let's say like the index, the script, and the CSS. You have hosted them via the GitHub. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Proceed.
You have hosted your pages via the GitHub. Then maybe it's just like a website. Now, can you be able to, like, if it is the dashboard, can it be able to display the maybe the balances? Yeah.
Not getting your question.
Okay. Let's say like you have the website. And it has a dashboard still on it. So can you be able, like, if you have hosted it via the GitHub, like if the admin can be able to update the balance and be able to reflect in the other side of the member dashboard, maybe.
For that one, you need access to a database.
Maybe you are using a Firebase.
Yeah, so definitely you need access to a database.
Okay.
Yes. Next question.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, this is Kidania.
Yes.
My question is to assignment week 5. For week 5, I didn't receive. I don't have some issues with the link. Then could you send me again for week 5, assignment week 5? Because unless I proceed with week 5, it's possible to access for week 6 and 7.
Okay. Please send me
Kindly.
an email. Just send me an email.
Okay.
I'll attend to it after this session.
Okay. Would you enable the chat room?
Yeah, just send me
Email
an
or
email. On my email. Send me an email. You do know my email?
yeah.
Yes. Just send me an email. I'll attend to it after this session.
Hello? Hello, sir.
Next question, please.
Hello, can you hear
Hello,
me?
sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, Nelson.
Okay, my question is, I'm finding JavaScript quite interesting. So I'm wondering, will now someone have to master all these functions for the sake of an interview, or how exactly will we go about it? Because there are way, way, way too many. Thank you.
For the sake of an interview, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I haven't been to a front-end interview because most of the things we are doing are basically front-end. But basically, yes, you'd be given a challenge. You'd be given a challenge, maybe shown an animation and told to actually recreate it. So my advice to you is no, you do not need to cram this. You do not need to cram all this. As long as you understand these properties when it comes to transitions, as long as you understand these properties, then I think you'll be good. Because if you understand what property is it that I want to showcase, then you can definitely do a heartbeat, you can definitely do a bouncing ball. So if you understand the property that is being changed over time, then you'd definitely be able to do any animation. You can do any animation because the rest of these are just timing. This is time, this is time, this is time. Hey, if you're not speaking, please mute your mic.
Hello?
Yeah, so as I was explaining, when it comes to animations and transitions, the main thing here is the properties that you are changing. What are you actually changing to actualize that animation or that transition? Are you changing the color? Are you changing the size? Are you changing the position of that item? So if you actually can master that, then everything will just fall into place. You can create any form of animation that you want because all this is time. This is time. From here, iteration, from delay, timing, duration, that is time. Iteration count, you're simply specifying number of times the animation will run. Direction, that is pretty straightforward. So if you can master the transition property or the property for which you are changing to actualize that animation, you will be good to go. Okay? Next question.
Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Ngoka.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir,
Good
please,
afternoon.
I'm having issues with my assignments.
What have I said about assignments?
You said we should fork it. So that is the only alternative we can use, right?
Have you done so?
No, I'll do that after this class because I've been trying to get the assignment done. 19 has been an issue for me.
So I have given a solution and you've not yet tried it.
All right, so I'll try it. If I have any issue, I'll send you an email.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
Next question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Peter, and then Linda.
All right. So my question is on the LMX. I observed that my score has not been changing ever since, and I have been submitting my assignment ranging from 1 to this current week we are into.
Yeah, that is yet to be resolved. So that has been an ongoing issue. It is currently being addressed.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Next question.
Yes, thank you so much. I want to find out, as a developer, there is already a website, maybe for a school, and now the person is no longer working there, and now you've been asked to take over the website and do more work. Are you supposed to, is it proper to ask for the old file, the database, how the person did it before, or you have to just recreate from the beginning? Then the second question is, for the balls that you made, it was looking like just a heartbeat. Can we make the ball to bounce from up, down, rather than pumping like a heartbeat? Thank you, sir.
Yes, you can actually do that. So for the ball bounce, I don't know if time allows, we can do it, but if not, I will refer you to the video for the first session. We did that one. To answer your first question, so you have been employed in an organization, you find that someone else did some work and you are told to maybe improve or make changes. So there are two possibilities. One, the code base is available. So yes, they should give you access to the old code base so that you can make changes or improvement. The other possibility is that this person did the work and hosted the website by himself and has all the codes. So there is that possibility, and you would need to recreate everything from scratch. But if you are working for a proper organization, keyword proper, if you're working for a proper organization, they will have a repository of all their solutions, okay? A private repository of all their solutions so that if anyone leaves the company, they always have access to the code base. And they will also have credentials for the hosting that has been done for the organization, whether database, whether the website hosting, email services, or any other service. They will also always have credentials to those services. That is a proper organization. Some of these organizations operate just for the sake of. So you'd find things are not as they should be. So prepare yourself for that. You might be told to recreate a website from scratch just because the previous developer refused to hand over the code base or refused to share the credentials for the web host or the database. So any situation is possible. So prepare yourself for both scenarios. The next question.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Vincent.
Yes, I was just asking if it's possible. Is it possible for me to host a functioning web page from Netlify if I can be able to connect it to a database?
On Netlify.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be possible, but you won't host your database. Your database will be hosted elsewhere.
Oh, okay. Now, if I do that and link a domain name to the page, will it still function?
Yes, Netlify actually gives you an option to do a custom domain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. That was my question.
Next question. I have Clive, Peter, and Akinodi. Questions, please. Do you have any? Yes.
Yeah, concerning the assignment, I would say the solution is to fork the specific. My question is, how do you go about that?
Forking a repository, once you access the link for the repository, you use the fork button on the GitHub user interface. So on the top, top right, this, you just click on this, it will navigate you to another page where you can specify your repository name, but I'd rather you leave this as it is. Just leave it as it is so that it can actually highlight the week, the actual topic of the week. And then you click on fork. This will create a repository for you under your GitHub account. So don't clone this main repository. You clone this main repository, you won't be able to push it to this.
Yes, I think that I was not able to push it.
Sorry?
I think that I was not able to push today because I saw some repository in my email, so I was not able to work with it.
So if you clone, you won't be able to push. That is the mistake most of you are doing. You won't be able to push here because this one is, you do not have permission to push here. But once you fork, you can do whatever you want through that other repository that will be created for you. So make sure you fork. That is for week 6 and 7. Okay, any other question? Yes, Peter.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, I want to know if someone created a website with mainly JavaScript, PHP, CSS, and jQuery, and the person now hosted it. Like, can you compare it with other sites that is built with framework? Will it match the same standard, or the person like upgrade it?
Can you please speak up?
I want to know, like comparing a site that is built with just JavaScript, PHP, jQuery, and CSS with two other sites that are built with a framework like React Native, the rest. So I want to know, will both of them have the same standard, or one will be better than the other?
It all comes to preference. Let me tell you something. You know, people rush for these frameworks. And I told you from the very beginning, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, those are the basis for all these frameworks that you see outside here. React is nothing but JavaScript and HTML. That is just what it is. It is built off of that. Same applies to Vue, same applies to Angular. it is just based off of JavaScript and HTML and CSS. There's nothing new right there. They're just making things easy for you. So there will be cases where somebody has done vanilla code and has done a better job than someone who has done React or Vue or Angular. So yeah, it all comes down to preference. But if you are looking to increase your productivity, then frameworks are the way to go. Libraries are the way to go because they have simplified most of the things that we are doing here. But it is good for you to understand what is going on behind the scenes. When I use a library, what is actually going on? Because we don't want a case where I take you away from the library or a framework and you cannot actually do anything. And interesting, most of your interviews will be based on vanilla code. They'll not be based on frameworks. Yeah, they'll be based on vanilla code. So to understand what is actually going on before you can actually venture into those frameworks and libraries. Very, very important.
Thank you. I just let me ask because I have plans on working with what I'm learning currently. So I was thinking if I should just jump into that, or I should focus on this and try to be something out of it.
There's no problem with jumping onto frameworks and libraries. In fact, it is encouraged. As I said, they really increase the productivity because they've simplified most of these things that we are doing. What I want you to pick up from what we are doing is that it is important for you to know and understand when I'm using a framework and I'm building something, what is actually going behind the scenes to make that work. Okay? So that one is the one that is very, very important.
Okay.
Because you go and learn a framework, you will only learn based on what the framework is showing you. But I take you away from the framework and you cannot actually do anything because you're constrained on the framework.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
I have a question. Should I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay, still on the hosting, how do we really host this HTML website? Because after we've created the files, how do we now make them come alive? I don't really know how to go about that yet.
Yeah, next week is deployment and hosting. So we'll go through that next week.
Okay. Then one more thing, this both .new, like that application, I don't understand how to use it. I tried reading through, but it was still difficult for me to understand how it works.
What is that?
Both.
I can't get you clearly.
Yeah, I said both.app. That's the application that can be one of the applications we're introduced to. I don't know if you have an idea how it works.
Oh, Bolt.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we'll touch a little bit on that also during deployment, okay?
Okay, so okay, during deployment, that's when we're going to do it.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay. So I'll wait for next week then.
Okay, thank you so much. There being no other questions, I would like to take this opportunity. I see we have a special guest in the house. A round of applause for Chakin Kim. A round of applause for Chakin Kim. Chakin Kim, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. How are you?
Welcome so much. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Hey, that was quite deep and interactive. and I've really enjoyed being part of the class. Feels nice. It's like I'm being taught newly how to do this, and it's getting better and nicer and sweeter. You guys, you got a sweet tutor, I have to say. Yeah, that's pretty good. So thank you so much, Eddie, for that moment. I'm here to share about you. You know, if you look at your calendar currently, you are in week 6 of week 7. So basically, like you've got one more week and you're done with foundations. You're in week 7. And so in one more week, you'll be done with the foundations. That means you start specializing, which is a very beautiful and great juncture whereby you have now to drop everything else and focus with one track. Okay, like you want to be an AI software engineer. Yeah, you drop everything else, you focus on modeling AI, how to work on AI models and make them work for you, and how you can create your own AI models like ChatGPT and what have you. Yeah, every model you see in the market, it was created by somebody. So if you want to like how to create yours, yeah, get into AI for software engineering. Yeah, for that one, it needs a great, you build up on Python, okay? Yeah, you build up on Python. So yeah, if you've loved Python along the way, that's the way to go. I would advise you to go to AI for software engineering. Again, maybe you love what Eddie has been doing. You love web solutions. You fell in love with HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Good. Now you should choose a track called MAN, meaning MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js. I've had some of you asking about React, Node.js. Well, yeah, they are all based on HTML. So you'll be able to create quite beautiful, responsive web solutions that are adaptive and that are highly integrated with the other solutions, technologies like AI and what have you. So if you like web solutions, yeah, go with it. Man is your thing. You should go and specialize with the track of man. Maybe you are like, you've loved how you've been testing software's functionalities, especially when it comes to deployment, how you can be able to test functionality of a software in real world. Yeah, then you need to specialize in software testing. We've got a track for software testing, whereby you can specialize in just testing and checking on a variety of softwares and quality, and even checking on how where a solution is fitting to its problems. Yeah, you get. So that is called software testing. You'll be kind of pro software tester. Yeah. Yeah, you are the person who will be always be called upon to check on validity of softwares whenever developers are ready. Okay, and then maybe you are there and you are like, I would like to know much more about how to deploy mobile apps, and I have an app I would like to deploy on Google Store, maybe iCloud, or maybe you want to deploy one in Amazon or anywhere you want. Definitely, you can choose the track of Dart and Flutter to enhance your ability to develop mobile apps. Okay, yeah, it's quite a beautiful apps. We always need apps in our phones. Imagine our phones without apps. Okay, they would be very boring boxes. Okay, yeah, so we want you guys to make our phones quite interactive, fun to be with. So yeah, follow the track of done and flatter. So with that in mind, then you have to consider that for you to graduate PLP, you need to submit a fully functional project. What does that mean? Is a project that one is aligned with the SDGs. So we have 17 of them. At least yours should find a place in one of them. Okay, that is one. Two, your project must be functional. Okay, it must be functioning, meaning it must be working. Yes, you say that my project can be able to deliver clean water. Well and good, show us how it does deliver that clean water to the users or those people who can't access clean water. All right. You say that your product can be used for health and it is good in health management. Show us how it manages health and how whatever your what are the problem you are solving is related to health. Okay, so basically it has to be functional, meaning you have to deploy it somewhere so that we can see how it works. Okay, that is one. So the focus as you design the solutions that you come up with, our focus as PMP is that you have to focus on SDG projects. At least you have to base your project on an SDG, at least between 1 to 17. So basically, the SDGs are UN generated. They're formed by the UN. And as an organization, we really focus on making sure that our students are able to address the problems raised by the UN because we are a Pan-African corporate. And so that means we engage Africans from all parts of the world. That's why some of you are in Dubai, some of you are in Sierra Leone, some of you are in Russia, and you are still in the program. Why? Because we are diverse. So UN is what brings us together. Okay. Yeah, we are united. Okay. Yeah, it's a feeling of entity. Okay. So basically, you guys, we want to make sure that your project, the very first thing, it should be aligned within an SDG. After that, we've explained to you what is an SDG. Now, the information I'm sharing before I go on is available from Telegram. Yeah, the Cohort, July Cohort Telegram community. Telegram, you can be able to access it from there. You can download it for free from there. It's accessible. So make sure that your project is aligned with at least one of them. For example, you can align your project with SDG number 1, no poverty. So whereby you can develop a mobile app for financial literacy and for low-income families. Have an AI-powered budgeting app for poverty alleviation. Have a crowdfunding platform for poverty relief. Microloan platform for small business, geospatial analysis tool to identify poverty-stricken areas. You get, now all those are apps you can develop, okay, to help alleviate a problem we call poverty. You get, the problem is poverty here. So your app is coming in to bridge in some gaps, okay, and to clear some pain points here, all right? So the same way, every SDG, we've aligned what you can do within every SDG. For example, let's talk of an SDG like, because I have an idea where we are going. So let me see. There's one I'm looking for. Please, justice. No. I wanted one for. Let me check for life on LAD. Okay. For example, wildlife monitoring app using drones. AI-powered deforestation detection system, sustainable ride and management platform, conversation efforts tracking app. You know, you can see that. Now that is Life on LAD. That is, who can tell me what is Life on LAD is SDG goal number? Thank you. Just do on the chat so that I see whether you know what I'm talking about. You can type. Let me see. Life on LAD is SDG number 6. Actually, it's all about 15. Who is saying 6? Okay, 24. 24. No, it's not 24. It's just the light one is 15. 15, yes. 15. I go with 15. Yeah, I go with 15. So yeah, you get. So that is it. So basically, that's what you expect. So when you talk of life below water, that is the marine, you can talk about marine pollution tracking platform, lift ocean temperatures, platform from sustainable fishing practices, air-based marine conservation tools, crowdsourced ocean cleanup app. You know, you can think about the problems and think about these problems and the pain points. Identify the pain points. And once you identify those pain points, make sure you can be able to develop a solution there about that. Okay. Yes. Then how will you execute? So once you at least you have known that you should develop an SDG aligned project. So how will you execute it? So it's easy. We've given you a structure on how you can execute. For example, week 1, make sure you set up your GitHub and project initiation. Okay. So in the initiation stage, this is where you gather funds. Go to the market, identify the problems you want to solve, check the lifestyles of your people, and check what technology can do to solve some of the pain points that can be automated, but unfortunately, they are not automated. So people have to do them manually. Okay? Yeah. For example, let's go to fishermen. For example, if you interact with fishermen, you would realize that at times they struggle to go catch fish because at times they can try to catch fish and there's no fish. And so they don't make any end. Okay, but they have spent a lot of energy and a lot of resources. Okay, so you can come up with an app that maybe can help you can work with marine sensors that can always be able to direct fishermen where the fish are at a certain point whenever they want to fish, so that they will not go there to like try fishing. It will not be a trial and error. They will always know what to do. Okay, so if they don't have that technology, you can deploy it to them. Okay, yeah. So you've got to identify that problem, check the pain point, and now know how to work around the solution. So week 2, problem discovery and early prototyping. What do you mean here? You need to identify which technologies do you want to work with your problem. Yes, not every technology might be fit for your solution. So you need to narrow down that, hey, here I will need these APIs, I will need these technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I might need Python, I might need MySQL, I might need Firebase, I might need Superbase, you know, get to know what you need to curate your solution. 2, note and front development. Yeah, concept note meaning have an A to Z of what your solution will cover. So for example, in the example I've just given you, I've told you, you should check that your solution is always to make sure that once you want the fishermen to know where to go fishing, which part of the sea or the marine part is the fish are concentrating on population, so that when they go fishing, it will be an easy job for them. So it has to start with detection, okay, being able maybe to count the number of fish, you know, being able maybe to sensitize the fishermen, yeah, and being able to direct the fishermen. So you might need like 4 features to work on 4 features of that application. You get, so you have to know what are you working on, how are you working on it. So first, detection, how is it happening? Where will the sensors be? When it comes to calculating, how do you calculate the population of the fish? How do you know that this is a good cluster of fish for a fisherman to come and fish? Then you want to check on how does it detect, how does it communicate with the fishermen, and how does it direct the fishermen? So it means you have, your solution is well thought. It's not a one-day agenda. It is a process, it's a thought process, a complete thought process. Okay, cool. That said, then you got to check integration of core logic development. Okay, this is where now you come and integrate. You need AI. Okay, what will the AI be doing? Maybe you need AI for weather sensing. Okay, 2, maybe you need AI for calculations, you know. Yeah, you've got to know what you need. Where do you need AI? Where do you need maybe a website? Do you need an app? Okay, what do you need? What do you need to make your solution deployable? Then you develop. So developing, you need some frameworks like Django, you know, Flask if you're using Python, or Streamlit, or you might need Manstack. For Manstack is also very good. Or any other framework, you know, that will work to make your solution implementable and deployable and workable. All right. Yes, I'm not very sure of the words I've used, whether they exist, but the aim is to make you understand, right? But I can also be a linguistic. I could be like discovering new words. Yes, yeah, yes. If Thomson Force discovered Thomson Force, I can also discover implementable, all right? Yes, and things work, all right? Then make sure you work on backend development and database. Yeah, every project that is technology-based means is data-based, meaning you'll be working with data. So the question is, where will this data be stored? How will it be accessed? How will it be retrieved? How will it be updated? How will it be deleted? You know, so know how to work with the code operations and be able to work around the bucket and database setup, part of it. Then define the AI models and MVP. So we encourage AI integration. Why? Because AI is the current technology on demand. Yes, like it's like every technology nowadays needs an extension of AI. So whatever you're building will need an extension of AI implementation. So it's good you ask yourself, now in this solution, how will AI play in? Okay, yes, so you need to train the AI and you need to test and prototype. So some of the technologies you need to interact with include TensorFlow, Keras, Flask, Django, and Heroku for deployment. Yeah, because you need to deploy to make sure that we can be able to access. So deploy MVP using and test. Make sure you test. You want to know, you don't want to deploy something, an app, and once 1,000 fishermen log into your register to your app, the app starts crashing. Okay, so test how many users can be accommodated by my app. What is the capacity? Yeah, what do I need to do to scale it up? Maybe if it exceeds its capacity in future, right? So do good testing before you deploy. Then make sure you keep refining, all right? Around week 8, you are refining. And finally, make sure that you launch and you have a monitoring final demo. So meaning by this time you have a confident product you can showcase, all right? Now, one of the most important things is that we want you guys to monetize your apps. We don't want you just to develop an app and don't have a monetization plan. That's why we would like you to integrate with payment modules like PayPal, Stripe, Flutterwave, Interset, Daraja APIs. So make sure you have monetized our donations. If somebody have to donate, how will you receive the money? If they have to subscribe, how will you receive the money? If somebody have to pay commercially to achieve maybe or to acquire your product, how will they pay? So you must spell it out. Okay. And have a comparing pitch deck. You get, after that, you will require to have a very good comparing and convincing pitch deck. All right. Not pitch deck that by the time you are done with slide 2, I'm sleepy. If I'm sleepy, by the second slide, my friend, there's nowhere that project is going, no matter how good it is. Okay, so you have to make sure that your project makes me just feel to be awake. Like I want to know what next do you have for us? Okay, good. So make sure you have good elevation pitch, because you'll have to pitch your project. You'll be called upon. We will evaluate the project, myself, Eddie, plus many other instructors. We will check on your project thoroughly. If we find it good, we will call you to pitch it. So not everybody is called upon to pitch. No, it's only for the good, competitive projects. Like right now, I was just, I think this was last week. The talent have asked me for some projects that I think that are very good. Definitely, I didn't recommend every project. I recommended those projects that were good and competitive for the previous cohort. You get? So that is it. That's how it goes. It's real. So you must work on your project very well. So now there are some runners recommended, and this week they'll be pitching their project to people who want to fund their projects and people who want to give them money to make their projects come to one. So the question is, will your project be one of those that I will recommend, or that Eddie will recommend? If Eddie is asked for a project, he will be happy to recommend what you develop. It's up to you to answer that question. So focus on SDGs, align your project on SDG. I've given you a template of every SDG and the problems and the approach you can use. Okay. Here I've given you even the tech stacks of working with every SDG. For example, let's say you're working on no poverty, you can use a AI microfinance platform. That's an idea. The tech stack you can use is Python, Django, MongoDB, Flask, any of them. You can use one of them, no problem. You don't have to use all of them, just use one. Okay. Make sure that the app is in purchases, own fees, subscription models. Okay. Yeah. So basically, that is the approach you should follow. Well, and after that, make sure that your where-around project is visible. So deploy it very well on maybe Heroku, Netlify, Rails, those platforms that give deployment. Plus many other that give deployment even for free. There are platforms that give deployment for free. So just for search for them, they are there. Okay. Yes, but the ones that are very popular, I think, and easy to go with, they are Netlify and Vassar and Heroku. Now you realize why it's very good for you to know your technology stack is because, say for example, I'm deploying a Django project on Vassar. The process of deploying Django project on Vassar is very different from how you deploy a Manstack project on the same platform, Vassar. Cool. So your technology stack matters. So do a research. You have to research well so that you know how different projects are deployed on different platforms, right? The good thing is that that information is available in documentations online. It's available on YouTube. It's available on TikTok. So if you're a TikTok user, you can go on TikTok. I'm also on TikTok, but not with my name. I don't know why I didn't go to TikTok with my name, so don't check my name. But I'm there. Maybe I will see what you do, but you will never know it's me. I'm quite anonymous. Yeah, it's just by choice. Okay, cool. So guys, that is about SDGs. I've given you also very nice platforms, projects that are aligned with SDGs and how they've been deployed. You can check them out on the net. Okay. Yes. So basically that's it. And for you to develop, you will need some vibe coding tools. So nowadays, coding has become easier. So instead of you struggling maybe with how to come up with the coding process, for you to be able to develop, we have tools that can help you to develop much faster and more efficiently. Okay. Meaning, for example, you can fix bugs quicker and even achieve tasks in a more speedy manner than you could before. Okay, so we use vibe coding tools, and we've got a lot of them that we have listed for you. You can use. You can use any other, as long as you deliver. All right. Yes, we won't mind. Okay. Yeah, we won't mind as long as you deliver. All right. This is to help you so that whatever would have taken you maybe a very long time to deliver, you can deliver it in a short time. Okay. So think about your solution. Think about the tool you want to do. For example, if you want to do a mobile app, you can use the raw app. Right. Lookup is better for mobile apps compared to Lovable. Lovable is better for websites. Okay. Yes. Yes, you can use MGX to provide, maybe you want to do a very stunning interface, user interface, UI, UX. So you can design it using MGX. All right. Yes. And you want to provide good backend, you can do it with Cursor. But Cursor can take a lot of care of a lot of the problems you can encounter in coding because it works more with like development. When it comes to database, you can use Supabase as your database, and it can be quite awesome. All right. So guys, make sure that you are able to link up and work with these tools to make your work easier. Okay, remember, we are in 2025. Now, struggling, we left it to our forefathers. You have the knowledge, you've learned how to develop it. So you don't struggle developing. Yeah, you are a developer, not a struggler. Okay? Yes, and because you're a developer, not a struggler, okay, we want you to develop. That's why we have given you tools to help you develop better and much faster. Okay? So where you are, do you consider yourself as a developer or a struggler? Okay, answer that to yourself. Good. So that is it. Make sure you are able to integrate your apps with monitoring APIs so that you can be able to work. Make sure every API you want to use, most of the APIs requires you to have an account with them so that you can be able to use the APIs for the application. So make sure you got it right. All right. Yes. And with that, I think that's all. Back to you, Eddie. Thank you. Yeah. Eddie,
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Chakin. Yeah, thank you so much for that info session. Maybe you can share a link to the Canva slides on the chat box. I can see most are asking. But I can also see some other learners have shared. Okay,
good.
that is
Thank
good.
you. No need for me to deprecate. Thank you for helping me out.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I love such people. They take initiative. These are good people. Kina Abdul Rahman and Vincent. Thank you, Geoffrey. Yeah, that is nice. That is nice. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bernard, also for sharing the slide. So yeah, that is it. That is it. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. I don't know if anyone has a question. Yes, Bramwell, Bilal.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the session. It was so nice. You may update the repo, the GitHub repo.
Yes, I will definitely do that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Osborne.
My question is, for example, we are designing an app for SDG4, the one for education. And then we want to say like maybe the payment model is for them to watch ads. Is there a way like how you can integrate the ads for them to fit? Like if it's the children using the ads will not be age inappropriate.
Interesting question. Not sure, but I'm assuming from the interface where you set up your ad configurations, I'm assuming there should be a place for selecting maybe an age group for the ads. I'm not sure though, but that is just an assumption I have.
Okay.
I really haven't worked with ads to know if you can actually select the ads that appear on your web page or application. But I'm assuming there must be some configuration setting where you can select age-appropriate ads.
Okay.
Yeah, Eddie, just to add on that is that you for sure it's true. You have to specialize like who are the audience of your ads, and then Once you authorize, it is now the regulator to make sure that whatever age you set as the limits, the ads are in consistency with that. So mostly is not on you to be able to monitor, but it is for the vendor, the host. It is on the host side.
Okay. Thank you, Chakin. Next question, please.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you for this session. So far, the experience is amazing. My question is, I'm developing a site, but I have issue with the rendering media files. I don't know if there is a way we can do that without having to include external sources.
It's either you're hosting the files yourself. You can host the files yourself if you do not want to be fetching them remotely. Yeah?
Okay, so I want when it is in production, how to display the uploaded images. When I turn in a production, then the image is broken. So I want a way when it is in production, I'm able to display the images.
If your images are appearing as broken images, then the link to your images is not correct. So please ensure that link is a valid link. It is pointing to the actual image. Yeah, fix that, the location of your images, how you're referencing them. So if they're not appearing, that will be one of the reasons. Okay.
But the issue is not the link to the files. The issue is in development, the image is displaying very well. But when I turn it to production, then I'm having issues with displaying that image.
Where are the images? Where are the images hosted?
For instance,
where are the images hosted?
Some asking, I'm asking if there is a way without involving external sources like Cloudinary.
And I'm asking you, where are your images hosted so that I can give you the appropriate answer? If you are displaying your website on your local machine, where are the images hosted?
Images in static files.
If they are in static files, that means they are on your local machine, yes?
Yes.
And when you are displaying them on production, where are you hosting your production website?
So that is my question. There is a way I can do that to.
Where are you hosting your production website? Please answer my question so that I can assist you.
Okay, for testing, I'm on Render.
If you are using Render, and you upload your GitHub repository, inclusive of all your files, your images will just display with no issue.
But still, I'm having that issue. That's why I'm asking.
I need to see your implementation. So send me your email, send me your repository, send me your Render application link.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, please, I want to ask if we can involve other people who are not in this academy. For example, if I build up an app but I need the actual product, which will end up having a sensor inside, cannot involve someone who is maybe doing physics, so that they can they can produce the sensor to put in the product, but why I concentrate on the app? Is it possible?
Yeah, as a consultant, yeah, you can consult. That is no problem. I think that is allowed. Yes, Chakin, just confirm.
What is it?
So someone is asking if they can bring in someone to assist with their project. So, for example, if they are doing something on IoT and they need to have a sensor for their application to work, is it okay for them to bring in someone to build the sensor for them?
No problem, as long as that person is part of PRP cohort July 2025.
Okay.
So it's allowed to work in groups. You can work in groups, but not more than 5 people. And those people, members of a group, they must be members of July 2025 cohort.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. So I think you heard it, Linda. So yes, you can bring in someone as long as they are part of PLP July 2025 cohort.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. Please, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
So thank you for the lesson. I feel like I'm feeling very overwhelmed by all the information shared. So I'm wondering, is this going to be after the specialization phase that we have to start working on this project, or during?
Yeah, so you're encouraged to start thinking of your project as early as now. Remember, we only have 1 week left until you begin your specialization. Okay. So just start thinking about your final project as early as now. Okay?
Another question is, I've been trying to figure out the payment integration using Lovable, but I haven't been able to figure it out for the hackathon. So that has really been an issue for me.
Payment integration.
Yes, and Paystack, but it wasn't working.
Okay, so remember, for most of this payment integration, you would need, if you need it to actually work in production, you'd actually need to get a production account or a live account. So most of them are not easy to get a live account unless you're a business. Okay, so that might present some difficulty, but with the sandbox feature, some of them can work. Remember, as much as you're creating a fully fledged application, some of these companies may not readily offer you a production account, especially for payments. Payments are very, very sensitive. So maybe you can configure something on Sandbox just for testing out and making sure your application is complete, but leaving out the production component when it comes to the payment.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I think we can end our session there. I can see a question for, can one enhance the hackathon work to be the final project? Yes, I think that one would be allowed. I don't know. Chakin, are you there? Can you confirm that one? Not sure about that one. This is Shadrach? I'm not sure about that one. I'll need to find out. In specialization, are you limited to one choice or can one check in the others? So you are only limited to one choice. Yes, you are only limited to one choice for your specialization. Only one choice. Only one choice. Any other question? Any other question before we end this?
I have a question, please.
Yes.
Sir, please, I want to ask, the technology provided for the specialization, that's the project, is it a must that will
Sorry?
make use of them? I mean, the technology that were listed that we are
That
meant
is
to use
readily
for,
available. All these
like,
technologies
is
are
it a
readily
must?
available.
Is
Huh?
it a must that will make use of it? Is it a must that will make use of it?
Those ones are suggestions. Your final project is at your discretion. Whatever technology you choose to use, as long as you're using things that we have been teaching throughout. You
All
can't
right.
bring me a PHP application. How am I going to evaluate you? And we have not done PHP here. Okay, so it is constrained to the languages that we have been using.
That's really a big slap, honestly speaking.
How is it a big slap? So I teach you math and then I evaluate you using physics. Peter, how is that even possible?
No, sir. The back end is the question for, let's say, for example, we're trying to develop a software, and which, of course, we're going to consider the back end. And let's just say I have a bit knowledge on that PHP, and I intend to use it.
No. That is not right, Peter. That can't work. I've asked you a simple question. I teach you English and then I evaluate you on French. How is that possible?
So, what's the advice, sir?
You are being taught Python, you are being taught HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You have been taught databases, including MySQL. I don't know if you've been introduced to MongoDB and Firebase. Specialization, you'll learn about React, Express.js, and MongoDB. And there's also the track for mobile app development. You mean you can't use Python for your backend? You can't use Express.js for your backend?
I've not used that language, so I don't think I can.
No, that one is not
And
even up for
moreover, they have not taught.
discussion. Peter, that one is not up for discussion. So you can't use a language you've not taught here.
All right. Are they going to teach us any backend language?
Python is a backend language. Express.js is a backend language.
But we have not been taught that.
Sorry?
We have not been taught that. That's the question.
You've not been taught Python?
No. Like, I mean, Express.
Express is on the specialization for full stack development.
All right, no problem. Let me just wait and then I just want to clear my doubts. That's why I'm asking.
Any other question?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Canon.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm also good, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the world of today, we talk much of it's so much into AI.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in the project, can you involve something to do with the AI? Because in almost everything we are doing, in almost
Definitely.
everything we do,
Mm.
you find that they involve in the things to do with AI.
Definitely, you can involve. In fact, it is highly encouraged.
Okay.
Yes.
Then my second question
Uh, uh, you see, you are talking about the project that we were given, the hackathon. You know, I have a problem with it a little bit because I never understood something to do with the hackathon. I wouldn't lie if I would say that I've done something about the hackathon, because I never knew even where to start. I remember I sent a text to make a clarification because I don't understand where to start. So when I hear people talk about hackathon, I don't know how you can help me with that issue.
Okay. So twende nyuma ya tent. Yeah.
So
So get in touch, Bright, get in touch,
Yes.
and then I can share more information and guidance on that.
Thank you, because I haven't started anything to do with the hackathon.
Okay. Get in touch. I'll share more information.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now, let me just make a clarification before you ask your question. I haven't said you can't use Python. That is not what I have said. Okay? You're currently learning Python. If you want to build your backend using Python, use that. Even from what Chakin has shared, I think there was a mention of Python, there was a mention of Django. So I haven't said you can't use Python. Please, don't misquote me. Okay?
So what about React?
React is okay. React is on full stack, so that one is fine.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. How it is evening?
I don't know. You know, we are African. We don't know these timings. I don't know when evening begins. Yes, Kevin. How are you?
I'm very fine, sir. So, thank you for the session. It was a good one. So, I had some issue on my LMS. I think I raised the issue around week 3 there. So there are these two modules that I completed: software engineering essential and AI Safari. During the first week of software engineering essentials. So by week 2, I think the progress was lost and it went back to 0. And
Sorry about that.
Yeah, and since then it has just remained there. So I was asking, will I be allowed to continue to specialization, or the issue can be resolved before then? Because now we are heading to specialization.
Okay. So we actually raised that with the technical team, and they were not able to give us a concrete answer on one, why that occurred, and two, whether the progress can be restored. You know, your progress is usually stored on a database.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we don't understand why it occurred, one, and two, now that it occurred, it seems that record is actually even missing. So we can't even restore it. So that is the problem. That is the issue we are facing.
Okay, so
if you don't mind, you can just go through the session again. You remember everything that you did.
Yeah, I do remember.
It will be a breeze.
Yeah.
It will be a breeze just doing it again, if you don't mind. But we are working on sorting that once and for all. You're not the only one who has mentioned. By any chance, did you belong to any other previous cohort?
No, this was my first cohort.
This is your first cohort.
Yeah.
So okay. Because most of the learners who reported this were actually from other cohorts. Yeah, so when you are usually from another cohort, we usually just reset your progress so that you start with the rest.
Okay, there is no problem. I think I'll have just to redo it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any other question? I really need to end the session. We are almost 50 minutes past our time. Any other question? Any other question? Okay. So there being no other question, I will end this session there. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time, for your patience through the info session. Thank you for your amazing questions. They are real mind openers. So, yeah, please pay mind to what has been shared by Mr. Chakin. But if you need any more further clarifications, please reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out through the academy email. You'll be sure to get a response. Otherwise, I will end the session there and wish you a very good evening. And we will meet next week when we get to go through deployment and hosting so that you can actually see the options you have. Free and paid versions. Yeah, free and paid versions for hosting and deployment. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Get to see that. So otherwise, thank you so much and goodbye.
Eddie.